Hello again. Well, we've made it. Another end to another week of home learning. Well done. It's Friday, so enjoy your home learning today and then have a really nice rest over the weekend. So the nasty writing task for today is colons. So we've talked quite a lot this week about punctuation, commas, semicolons, capital letters. Here's what a colon looks like. Obviously don't make it into great big snowballs like that. Yours should look more like this. Two little dots like that. But it tells you a little bit about how we use colons in our writing, and then you've got to write a sentence or two of your own using the information you've been given here. I don't know if you've been doing the Turbo GPS activities as well. They're a little bit different to what we do in school, but basically most days there's a little video clip for you to watch, usually linked to the nasty writing, and then there's another activity to do, just like a short activity. Sometimes it's an online quiz, so it's quite interactive. Sometimes you might have to write a couple of things down, but generally speaking they're linked to the nasty writing tasks, so they're always good to do if you'd like some more practice. Okay, so today our last time capsule piece of writing. So when you finish today, if you want to make a time capsule to put away somewhere, you'll be able to sort that out after you've done this piece of writing, or maybe at the weekend. The piece of writing we're doing today is to write a news report about home learning and being in lockdown. So what I have put on the website is a link to some news round videos which were made last year about children who were doing home learning from all over the world. And it's really interesting because they're children from everywhere. There's quite a few children from European countries, but there are also children from countries in Asia, like South Korea and India. There are children in Zimbabwe and Africa. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head now, but there are children from quite a few different places. You don't have to watch all of those videos at all. I mean, you can if you're interested, but you could just pick maybe 3 or 4 to watch, 2 or 3 to watch. It's up to you. And you're going to make notes while you're listening. And the nice thing is, when you do this in school, you have to rely on the teacher pausing the video for you to make notes. But you can just pause the video wherever you want to, can't you? And make a note of anything interesting that you found out. And then you're going to use that information to write a pretend news report about children's experiences in lockdown. So you could imagine it's for a newspaper, you could imagine it's for an online newspaper, you could imagine maybe that you're writing a blog online, like a report of what you found out. And what I thought was you could lay that out. Actually, you could have a headline like a news report would have online or in a newspaper. So I was thinking my headline could be Lockdown Learning, which is a bit like the name we've used for the home learning page on the Chesswood website, Lockdown Learning, or I could have something like Home Learning All Over the World. They're not particularly inspirational headlines. I'm sure you can think of something even better, even more creative. So let's go with Lockdown Learning for now. And do you know what you could do? You could write this first, and then like we do in class, you could publish it on a piece of, if you've got some, a piece of plain A4 paper or something, or just on a new page in your book. And you could have Lockdown Learning, you know, you could have it in capitals, like you see it on news websites or in newspapers. So that could be your headline. So you could actually, once you've written it, you could then publish it and lay it out a bit like a news report. So I've got my headline already, that's on my checklist. It also says I need subheadings to introduce different paragraphs or topics, so I can come to that later. I also need an introduction, which includes the 5 W's. What, where, why, who, when. So just telling the reader what my news report is about. And then I'm going to include some facts about home learning and life during lockdown for the children whose videos I've watched. And then their opinions or feelings about home learning and life during lockdown. I've also got some year 6 things to include. So I'm writing in the 3rd person. I'm not writing about me this time. I'm writing about these other children. I'm going to be using the past tense to say what they've thought. More formal language today because it's a news report. And I might use some direct speech with inverted commas, but also some reported speech like I did yesterday. And actually, rhetorical questions are quite nice, aren't they, in news reports? I think I'm going to try and put one in my introduction. So my introduction is just going to summarise what's happened so far during 2020 to 21, children all over the world have been learning from home, I suppose, have been learning. I'm just doing this bit quite quickly. Oh, sorry, you can see it's not very good writing. So I can get onto the main part. But this just sometimes helps you get started, I think. During 2020 to 21, children all over the world have been learning from home because their schools have been closed to most children. Now, I could write another sentence there, couldn't I, with a bit more information about why schools are closed and why children are learning from home. But because I'm just showing you how I would get started, I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to have a rhetorical question now to get the reader to want to read on. What do they think about learning from home? What do they think about learning from home? Okay, so I'm then going to have a subheading, because that's my introduction. I've done that. I now need a subheading, and I had a look at one of the ones I watched was about the two children, I can't remember if they're friends or sisters, from Zimbabwe. So I'm just going to make my subheading Zimbabwe. But you could have a more fancy subheading. You could have, you know, home learning in Zimbabwe, life in Zimbabwe, or you could pick up on something they said in their video and have that in your headline, like as you're here, they say they sometimes get bored, but they've enjoyed spending more time with their families. So you could have boring and fun, or something like that as your subheading. It's up to you. So I've got their names here. I'm going to have a look here to get the spelling right. So Munasha and, well, do you know what? I can't read my own writing because I was taking notes really quickly. So if this is wrong, I apologise. Munasha and Reverasha, and then I'm going to use some parentheses, some commas to say who they are. Children from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is in southern Africa. Children in Zimbabwe told us that, so I'm saying told us, you could have told me, I'm pretending I think that I work for a newspaper or a news organisation, told us that although sometimes they get bored at home, they've also enjoyed spending more time with their families. They have, because it's more formal actually, I'm not going to write they've, I'm going to write they have also enjoyed spending more time with family. Okay, let me just reread that. Munasha and Reverasha, children from Zimbabwe, told us that although sometimes they get bored at home, they have also enjoyed spending more time with family. Can you see where I've missed some punctuation to separate my clauses? I think I need a comma here to separate my subordinating clause from my main clause. And I'm always using although, I don't know if you've noticed that, so I'm going to try and use something different. I could say even though sometimes they get bored at home, while sometimes they get bored at home. I think they're the only ones that might fit in there as my sentence is now. So I'm going to use while, because it's also quite a nice formal one to use. Munasha and Reverasha, children from, sorry, I keep walking out of shot, I think. Children from Zimbabwe told us that while sometimes they get bored at home, they have also enjoyed spending more time with family. There you go. So I think I've included most of the things on my checklist. I've used some reported speech, and I've got a rhetorical question. So have fun with that today. Enjoy watching those videos. They are really quite interesting to see how children have been learning from home all over the world. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again next week.